Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Why am I in it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday here at Kindness Rising, where we get up, get after it with a little bit of hope, humanity, and heart. And it is a Friday morning. I am still working through my little bit of head cold, but feeling better this morning already, believe it or not, even though might not sound it. That sinus pressure is gone and things are moving in the right direction for me. And so here we go. Let's get going on our show today. We're going to do a recap from our week where we talked about blind spots and building something different on Weird LinkedIn and the Olympic Brotherhood and legacy, and even my own origin story about that little orange audio cassette and the Sesame Street cassette recorder. We'll hit the highlights of the week throughout today, and the fact that none of these have been random conversations. They might feel like random conversations, but they're not. None of it's random, right? Life doesn't really isn't random like that. There are always connections. It was a little random. I didn't have a central theme going through this week, but as I've thought through the week and as I've examined what I've been through, the people I've met this week out there, both in our community and outside of our community at Kindness Rising. Mike Sullivan, of course, you're one of them, always here. So glad you are here. Anybody else out there, please say hello in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe if you're listening now. If you're listening later, come visit me every morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, weekdays here on Kindness Rising. But get involved right now if you're there. Say hello. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out and joining us here on Kindness Rising. Anyway, I was talking about all the stories, and so it got me thinking about stories. That's what we're here, right? We all have a story. And being aware of our story, how we tell our story, what the stories that we tell ourselves. This isn't a new concept, right? For us, that life is a story, or the idea of storytelling. Anyone who's involved in digital marketing or media knows about storytelling, but I've been thinking about storytelling in a specific way myself, and that's when the story shifts, right? Because as we age, the story shifts. There's moments in time that create significant shifts. There's periods of time where you look back and you go, holy shift. Yeah, it happened. Wow, I really changed. But that's the thing, is the evolution. I've talked about it being that spiral staircase that we go around and around and around and up and down. Absolutely. As an idea, as a model. We talk about our six strings that weave through all this and create the music of a great life. But now I'm thinking about something a little different. I always like to think of things in different models and how things happen. Anyway, here's what's going on. I've noticed there's been a lot of interest and discussion. It's early part of the year, plus an event happened earlier this year. We're talking about, since you're asking, NES2G, the topic is reboots. Reboots in our life, reboots on TV, reboots in the movie. And when a story shifts, your story shifts, the story of what you're watching out there on television or in the movies shifts. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And what triggered that was the Scrubs reboot. This that was launched this week. I actually didn't watch it, I got to be honest with you, but I've been reading about it and seeing information about it. We've got the X-Files, which I am highly anticipated X-Files reboot, and then also He-Man. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm really excited for the He-Man, although I know it's just not gonna be the same. It can't be the same, right? Just like the X-Files is not going to be the same. I think it's going to be unbelievable. Ryan Coogler uh, is becoming a superstar, is a superstar. Black Panther, Sinners, uh, unbelievable history, a great storyteller of his own, is going to be rebooting X-Files. I think it's going to be amazing, amazing. So I'm excited about that. And so that's what triggered this. That's what triggered this idea of how stories change, how stories have changed in media, whether that's going back to the freaking minstrel days where there was guys strolling around with guitars telling stories, and then they'd hear another story and they'd get to the next town. The story was kind of the same, but it added this other little thing, right? And then the next story, yeah, this is me minstreling. Is this how you minstrel? Does anybody know? How do you minstrel? I'm minstreling. I don't know what I'm doing. Uh, acting a little kooky. But yeah, the point is there was minstrels, right? Then there's vaudeville. There's all the traveling troops of. I mean, been going on for years, right? Radio, television, streaming media, social media. The story is a story is a story, no matter what happens, and it evolves and it changes in specific ways. Just like our lives is a story, and it evolves, and uh, develops in certain ways, right? I was doing good there for a minute, and then of course I got distracted by a script that I don't need, but for some reason I'm leaning on it, right? Just making sure I'm staying my on my task, right? Um, Absolutely, because here's the thing: stories, they don't end. They don't end unless, especially human stories, right? We all get canceled. In the end, we're all going to get canceled, right? You know, it's life. So, how does our story evolve? How do we develop? I'm interested in your story. What's going on out there in the world? Is your story evolving? How is it evolving? Is it continuing? Is it a sequel? Same thing, read the same thing. Story continues, but everything stays the same, right? Is it a spin-off? Complete, whoa, I'm going in a completely different direction, leaving behind something and moving into something else? Is it a reboot? Is it taking the same story that you've lived and putting it in a new environment with a new plot? How is your story evolving? And this is a half-baked idea, guys. So I'm just out here thinking about it, how it evolves, and that connection. There's something about that that's made a thought in my mind that I've just been thinking about it. I'd love to hear what people have to think about it, right? Because in the movies, in the television, right, they have time to pause and write the sequel, or a reboot happens after 20, 30 years. How long has it been since the X-Files, right? Boom, reboot happens. Sometimes they reboot super fast. Remember when the Hulk movies were coming out? It felt like there was a Hulk movie every year, but it was a different reboot, a different telling of the stories, right? So that was just a way that stories happen. And even if you're going to continue the sequel, right? If you're just going to continue the series, well, we got renewed for another season. We got renewed for another season. Those fictional characters, they get their summer break. The writers of those shows, they get their summer break. We don't. That's a difference for humans. Thanks, Sully. I appreciate you, buddy. What? Oh, cover songs. Another great example. Another great example. I love listening to certain cover songs. I will tell you what I got into for a while and still get into from a music perspective, because I can easily go spin off with you on this direction. Uh, I've been listening to bluegrass covers. bluegrass covers of all kinds of genres of music, everything from your big band, old time happy tunes to emo to just any kind of song. Gin and Juice. There's a band. I'll think of their name. They do a lot of banjo. We got the infamous String Dusters. They're the big one. I think that most people know. Um, there's a couple others. I'll think about it. But this band does a bluegrass cover of Gin and Juice, Snoop Dogg from the 90s. And if you remember that, it's a spoofy. How can you do bluegrass Snoop Dogg and not be a little spoofy? Check them out. Check them out. Yep. All right. Roseanne, good morning. Yes, think of the minstrels. Absolutely. So anyway, we're going into the reboot. Um, And like I said before, our lives evolve, our lives continue regardless of uh we don't get a chance. We can decide as we're moving whether we're going to reboot or whether we're going to spin off. And I think a lot of people are in that period. I know I am. We're constantly in that period, but there's periods where you go through and you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Now, what am I going to do consciously and intentionally to involve my life? I've had a number of calls this week. I've been increasing my networking and having conversations with people, hearing more and more people's stories out there in the world with people who are willing to share. Shady Tribe, what is this? This is Kindness Rising. Welcome to Kindness Rising. We come here every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, to rise with some good conversation, to rise above the noise that's happening, to think about our lives, to bring context and information and share community, just thinking about how we get our day started. As part of the Mornings in the Lab network, I am the opener, Matthew Roof. Kindness Rising at 7:30 a.m. for the opener. And then Mornings in the Lab network is 2 hours of live everyday weekday programming, a true live morning show with Keith Billis and John Anderson leading the way over there. And we are developing this network further with It Starts with Joy, Cheryl Raphael Whitaker, and the Jason Hewlett Show, talking about his promises in keeping family and faith and other things as priority. And we are developing even more so. We've got Brianna Bree, who's coming to the Keith and John show every other Tuesday. They're taking that conversation to another level in terms of men's sexual health. Uh, all positive, all built around the piers of self-awareness, of growth, of positivity, of balance, with different vibes. We've all got different vibes. I'm bringing a little bit of chill, kindness, and growth. We've got Keith and John over there with their little bit of chaotic adult-sized adult programming, talking about all kinds of things. But if you listen deeply to the message, you might just be surprised how they want to help people and what we're doing as part of the network. Cheryl Raphael Whitaker, It Starts with Joy. What a wonderful program we have with her every week, talking about how she has made joy her chief operating officer in her life and her experiences. An amazing person. And Jason Hewlett, I mentioned him before. I'm done with the commercial for Mornings in the Lab, Shady, but you asked. So that's what we're doing. Check us out. Check us out. Check out Mornings in the Lab Network. Check out Kindness Rising, Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. It Starts with Joy, the Jason Hewlett Show, and a host of others coming. And be on the lookout for the words Mornings in the Lab Network. You're going to be hearing more and more about it. All right, back to the topic. Thanks, Roseanne. Yeah, reboot, but having the solid root system building and growing. So here's where we get into it, Roseanne, aka Mom. Absolutely. Most of my videos are not AI personally. That's the whole point of what we are building. We are building a live video, live network. I am here live. I am a human being. I am not AI. AI is definitely integrated, right? Keith particularly is using those AI shorts, our characters that are integrated into our world. It's where AI meets human. And if you continue to watch, you'll see how those AI characters you see integrate into human, right? It adds interaction and interest, right? And the network has done some great things in terms of building consistency of character, right? So that you get to know them. And we're blending those lines, blurring those lines, and we're building it live. As you see, Keith Billis for the past 2 years doing it. I've been doing it for 7 months. The rest of the crew joining, building a team that can build, that are building the future of media, the future of shows, live mixed with AI, live, bringing your full, authentic, true self to the table. Not recorded, not polished, not scripted. Sure, you have scripting to help, you have ways to do it, but that's not the point. You have your live, and this is the way that you show your authority. You build trust with your community. You can show your expertise, your experience. It's that trustworthiness, and you can entertain. And you can entertain, right? You guys know about eat? I've used to talk about eat a lot. I'm really going off on a tangent here, but I don't care. This is what's on my mind right now. I used to talk about eat a lot. And I'm not sure for those that have stuck around and listened over the past 7 months, I talked about eat, then I didn't talk about it. You got where it comes from, right? This is not just something I have made up. It's actually in the background. Look it up. Google started it. Obviously, they not obviously. I'm telling you, it was a Google thing. It was a way for them to evaluate value, whether your content shows your experience, your expertise, your authority, and your trustworthiness. Keith and I have added another E. We call it entertainment because you don't want to watch stuff that's boring. You might have all the experience, you might have the expertise, you might have the authority and the trustworthiness, but if it's boring as hell, no one's going to watch. So that's what we're doing. That's how we're evolving the model for those who might be interested. And today at 1 p.m. Eastern, I meant to bring the link. Keith, myself, and Cheryl Whitaker are going to be doing a live open house. Crap! I should be dropping it. I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna take a second and I'm gonna drop it because that's what I should be doing. Um, we're doing an open house. An open house through the platform that we actually use. It's called Roam, which is a basically a building, right? We're all remote, but we all have our own little offices, and the platform certainly gives us opportunity to interact and share in the mornings in the lab. So, crap, I'm really struggling. This is where I could use an external producer. I'm producing my own show just because I like to do it and I'm learning as I grow. But when you join us, we actually have producers that help you with this kind of stuff. So I'm learning, I'm growing, having a good old time here. Own the Morning is what it's called. And it's like, see it right here. View the calendar. Can I get a link to share, please? Can I get a link? Yo, can I get a link? Well, it's a new thing. I'll tell you what, I'll figure out how to drop it. Own the Lab. I will drop it, I promise, to my LinkedIn page when I get a chance. I just have to figure out. I've never done it before. This is the first time we're doing it. Something new. We're doing it live. It's going to be basically an open house. It's called Own the Morning, and it's 1:00 today. Keith and myself and Cheryl are going to be on there. Come talk to all three of us in the chat, get involved, join us live at 1:00. I'll send you the link. Sorry for the crap. I wish I could do better. Okay. So anyway, keep talking. We'll keep talking about our stories, right? While I work on discovering this thing. You're watching it happen live. uh, yeah. So here's the other part of this that I was thinking about as I'm thinking about evolution of stories and we're doing these things. Um, I know, we all walk into a story. We're all born into a story in the middle of a million other people's stories. Of course, the people that are closest to us, our families, have the most impact, but all the world, we're all building our own stories around us. But when we are that newborn, little baby, we're just thrust into a million people's stories. And I understand that everybody's story is different. And I have interest and I have compassion and I have empathy and understanding of people's stories for which they didn't choose, right? That story. But I also know there are a lot of people who are born into a safe environment, a comforting, nurturing environment, including myself. My family was amazing, and I know there's a lot of people out there that had amazing families and have had all the support and the growth and the development, and we have gratitude for those things. I also know there's a lot of people who did not did not have that. Um, and the word is privilege, but not in a way it's honor, it's privilege, not in, oh, I'm privileged. Da, 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 da. It's if you recognize your privilege, uh, you can do more with it in a kind way. That's not the point of this. The point of this is I know there are a lot of people, including myself, that are out there writing their stories that came from a place of comfort, but somewhere along the way, their stories have changed in ways that didn't doesn't fit with who they were back when they had their joy. I told my story earlier this week about that, right? About how I've been growing and doing amazing things in a career, right? But not aligned with what I love and what I'm interested in and who I am inside. I was able to bring some of those skills. I found ways to bring those skills into jobs and into careers, that didn't really fit that mold. But some of the struggles that I had were because of that exactly. So I'm in a period of change. I'm in a season of change, and it's been a long season. I'm talking about for the past 5 years. Um, but I'm doing it differently now as I grow into what I'm doing here at Kindness Rising, Uncommon Kindness, Mornings in the Lab, all these things that we're building and growing, right? And my story is going to change and shift. There are times, at some point I got to get an income. I'm just saying that right out there. So I'm looking for jobs and I'm trying to figure out how do I fit all of this together. And that's the journey I'm on Kindness Rising. I talked about it a little bit in my story. And I'm thinking about, is my story a spin-off, a reboot, a sequel? But the point is I'm thinking about it. I have the self-awareness. That's what the point of this episode was the self-awareness to make your own story rather than letting my story happen to me. And building that story is a struggle. It's a lot. It's a lot. But we move forward every day through kindness, through action, through balance, through curiosity, self awareness, and growth. And that's what it's all about. So that was a wild turn of events that I did not intend to take in terms of the conversation, but I love every minute of it. I do. I do. And I'm still stuck on this thing like, all right, man, let's find this thing and figure it out. Get it into the chat. So we're going live with Rome. Absolutely, Rome, Rome, Rome. And I'm trying to find the link. This was a silly thing. Here it is. See, I can make anything happen. Don't make me regret spending all that time and not show up this afternoon to Mornings in the Lab. Own the morning. Absolutely. This is what we are doing. It's not a webinar. It's not a how-to video or how to grow on LinkedIn. It's going to be a live introduction with myself, Cheryl Whitaker, and our handsome chief, as he likes to call himself, Keith Billis, who's building this amazing Mornings in the Lab network. An introduction to what it really means to build your own structured morning broadcast, produced, narrative driven, and owning the message and owning the morning. Right? That's what it comes down to. People who want to grow and build their business and own that morning. Here's the thing. You can broadcast. You don't need a studio. You don't need a production team, and you don't need to figure it out alone, because we bring all of that. As long as you bring your conviction, we will build the engine behind you. That is owning the morning, and that is what we do at Mornings in the Lab. All right. Yeah, I'm going to clip that as a commercial. Absolutely. No question. That's what happens when you go live. Sometimes you think, oh, I'll just make a commercial here. Okay. That's what I'm doing. Thank you all for showing up, though, for real, here on Mornings in the Lab Network and Kindness Rising. And I hope you'll continue to follow. We can get back to the conversation about the pop culture bridge. We can get back the bridge to the He-Man, to the X-Files, talk all about it. We'll continue to talk about how sequels are like growth, right? Kindness and balance and growth, and spin-offs. Those are really curiosity and action together. And a reboot, that's your return to your truth through self-awareness and growth. Those are the six strings and how this conversation connects. So as we wind down, maybe the question isn't, am I starting over? Maybe it's, what kind of story am I living right now? Is it a continuation? Is it a spin-off? Is it a reboot? Sometimes life keeps the cast, and sometimes it changes the settings, and sometimes it just invites you to remember the magic that you had before the noise. I hope you'll do that. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what we do every day here on Kindness Rising, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Now get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends, and come back Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.
What if your mornings could be inspiring and ridiculously fun?
Kindness Rising isn't just a show, it's a full wake-up vibe.
It's freaking fun, people.
Yeah, man, it's got real get after it energy.
I love it.
Wake up with Kindness Rising.
I help purpose-driven people grow their impact. 5-ingredient recipe to help you build your personal brand. Get out there and take kind action.
If it's live, they'll feel it.
On Kindness Rising, we bring you proven strategies and fresh ideas you can actually use. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Exactly. Fail fast, rebound faster.
You'll see the bloopers and the genuine connections that make kindness contagious. We sometimes get into a little bit of trouble.
Pretty much my life made the list.
You can trust what you see right here is honest, respectful, and uplifting. Social impact organizations, and we always talk about them. Try kindness. It's way cheaper than therapy. You just made my day.